Hey everybody, Tim here with today's episode of Star Trek Voyager, Season 4, Episodes 18 and 19, The Killing Game. Which, by the way, these episodes were actually broadcast together, so I don't know why. I get they broke it up for syndication, but to me, I would rather just think of this as Episode 18. But for simplification, I'll call it Episodes 18 and 19. So anyways, overall, I would say this is a really good two-parter. I like the first part more than the second part. But overall, I'm starting to get a little burnt out on the Hirogens. Like, I get how it's a story arc and how we've seen them for, like, the last 5 episodes, but I could have used a little bit of space between them before getting to this giant two-parter. It starts out very interesting where Janeway is actually a Klingon, and then we see a Hirogen stab her, and then he calls for medical attention on holodeck 2. So right away, you're like, what's happening? From here, we kind of start to learn that the Hirogens have boarded Voyager and have taken over, and they start running a new program that is based on World War II. So, and everybody kind of has a new part, where Seven is like a lounge singer, Tuvok is the bartender, Janeway is the host of the bar, and it's kind of like this giant war type setting, and it's really interesting. It's really well done. B'Elanna and Neelix are in on it, where they're trying to like send coded messages to the Americans and not get caught by like the Nazis. And it's some great scenes where like Neelix has like the bottle and the code is on the inside. B'Elanna is pregnant, which is fantastic because the actress that played B'Elanna was actually pregnant during the time, and this was just kind of a way to write it in. Whereas if you look at like the last few episodes, she's only been shot from like the chest up, and she has a new coat to kind of cover everything. Eventually, Seven and Neelix are shot, and they have to go back to the medical bay, and the doctor says, like, you've been, like, shooting and traumatizing and hurting all of these people for 3 weeks now, and you're like, damn, how long has Voyager been occupied? And we kind of see the Hirogens talk about other settings and how, like, at one point they were going to do Wolf 359 battle, which would have been super interesting, but then they decided to do the World War II setting instead. Chakotay and Paris are playing the American soldiers, which is really interesting. Finally, the Doctor is able to disable like the thing inside Janeway and then Seven. So they're woken up and they finally realize, hey, this is just a holodeck program. But not only that, but the Hirogens have been spreading the holo emitters throughout Voyager. So Voyager at this point is almost one giant holodeck. It's kind of fun to see Neelix as a Klingon because after he's shot in the World War II program, he goes to the Klingon program. Eventually, Chakotay calls in an airstrike, and when the bombs drop, it's too much for the holo emitters, and it actually like blows a hole in the holodeck. So you can see like 4 decks worth of holodeck worth of whatever through the holodeck because it blows a hole in the wall. It's really well done. It's a fantastic shot, and it was really interesting. In part 2 is where it speeds up very, very quickly. Janeway plants some bombs in sickbay, and that's what kind of wakes everybody up. After that blows up, like all of them just kind of wake up. Janeway's finally the one that makes the treaty with the Hirogen leader, like, hey, nobody's going to win in this scenario, and you're basically just going to run yourselves extinct by just hunting throughout the rest of your life. Sure enough, he ends up getting killed by his lesser in command because he likes the Nazi ideals so much. Eventually, the Klingons join the war, so it's Klingons versus Nazis, which could have been great, but it's so short-lived, we don't really see anything. I didn't much care for Harry overloading the holo emitters because it just ended the program like way too quick. I didn't like it. I thought it was kind of a cop-out. And eventually, Janeway does basically make the same treaty with the next Hirogen leader, saying, hey, I talked to your superior, I'm going to talk to you, there's nothing we can really do, it's a stalemate at this point, here's a holodeck, have your own battles, like get your bloodthirst out using fake victims. Bye-bye. And that's kind of the end of the episode. Like, it ends up way too quick, way too neat. And what also kind of bothers me, as I've said it before, I'll say it over and over again, I can almost guarantee you in the very next episode, Voyager will be perfectly put back together. Like, the Next Generation, Voyager, like, as soon as something happens, like, we got holes blown into Voyager all sorts of the place. Like I said, like, a giant massive hole was blown in there so we can see 4 decks up. But I guarantee you in the next episode, it'll be back to the way it should be. It's not like Deep Space Nine, where every episode is them fixing things. I mean, we could have spent a whole season having them just repairing Voyager based on the damage from this episode alone. And that would have been more interesting to me. But overall, I would say it was a good 2-parter. I did kind of enjoy it. It was an interesting storyline. Not necessarily a favorite, which is why I didn't do this episode live. But overall, it was enjoyable. Hopefully, it's the last time I think we see the Hirogens for kind of a while, until like next season, which is only like 6 more episodes. So for those who have seen this one, what did you guys think about this as a 2-parter? What did you think about the Hirogens? What did you think about the holodeck? Go ahead, let me know in the comments below. Thank you guys for those who have subscribed. I will see you guys next time for Vis-a-Vis.